I did Photoshop for many years for my comics, and just understanding, actually doing Photoshop on a very basic level. And then I started doing it for my comics. And a development artist that I worked with, Chen Yi Chang, who is amazingly talented.
Yeah.
He taught me one thing with Photoshop that like changed my whole process. And it's the most obvious thing. Everybody's gonna go, of course, that's like Photoshop, like like the first thing you learn on the first day. But I was trying to color things and trying to stay within lines and not understanding how it worked, like almost like animation cells with layers and things.
Right.
And he goes, just go into this layer and click multiply. And I go, okay. And suddenly I was like, oh crud. I don't have to go. I don't have to be so careful getting up to the line and ruining my line. I'm like, it's like an animation cell. It just goes on. I was like, oh, it
Yeah.
changed everything. And so you don't know where you're going to learn something, who you're going to learn something. Someone make a comment, you see someone do something online, and you're like, how did they do that? And I love that. I'm always trying to be a sponge like that to learn from people.
Well, and I think you have to be now in this sort of age of technology. Like technology is changing so quick. I mean, even like Storyboard Pro here, where
Mm.
it's on version 25, right? And there's new features being planned all the time that like, and I find a lot of the time there's like new features that come out. You're like, yeah, and then you like keep doing everything the same way you did it like
Because you're
historically. So it's
used
like,
to that.
okay, well, you've got to be continually educating yourself on what is the new thing that could make my work, speed up that workflow, right? Because we're all looking for speed. We live in a media environment that is very saturated. And it's always like, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before the show, having, you know, things that like, oh, I watched that. Now, where's the next one?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to refine the process down enough to where you're able to do larger amounts of work in a shorter period of time. I think that's where like the continuing of your even technological education, not
Yes.
not even necessarily the artistic education, although that should be always at the forefront. Like it makes me laugh whenever I see some sort of tutorial series or whatever that says master this subject, and I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing.
That doesn't.
I mean, you
There's
can,
no. You've reached it. Yeah.
yeah. If you're always striving, like you could be a forefront expert or a master, so to speak, of one particular thing, but usually those guys are like, you know, they've done that one thing like their whole lives, and they're
Yeah.
still doing that one thing. Like we talk about some of the Disney animators from back in the day. We get the Milt Kahls and the Mark Davises and the others. Like James Baxter, who is still cranking out amazing work, and they're lifers. And I don't think any one of them would consider themselves a master of their craft because they're perpetual students.
Hmm. Well, and it keeps you from getting stagnant and just sort of stalling out.
Yeah.
You're constantly learning and being open to that of how can I learn from something, and even if it's a little thing, I think that's a good thing to remember too. Is it doesn't always have to be some grand big. I learned some massive new lesson. It's like just that one little thing, like I said, the multiplier or the this or that. What is that one little thing that just goes, oh, I leveled up a little bit. That made it a little bit better, or I didn't know that I could use that tool or set up my space a certain way, or
Right.
certain technique. It just adds. As long as it's adding, I say add to your toolbox. What are you carrying in your toolbox? Obviously, we layer our toolbox. I always believe that we layer it with the tools in an order that what's our initial grab. What is, I do a lesson with some students. I teach cartooning. So this education is perfect in line with that. I teach just all around cartooning for film and print and everything. But one of the lessons I have the students do initially is I give them an assignment, and then I have them draw something with 3 different tools. the same image. You're not changing it. You're not refining. It's just how do you draw this? And what I want people to land on is sometimes we don't take stock of what is our go-to drawing tool. What is that thing that we go, if I've got to do work on something, I always grab this. I always go to this. I always do that. What is that? And
Right.
that's another thing with education is take a moment every once in a while and take stock of what is your process. Can it be dusted off? Can it be refined? What actually do I do? You know,
What actually
some
do I need and what do I not need?
yes, yeah, I don't need that tool in there. I don't know why I'm carrying around that one tool, wrench, whatever it is. I don't need to carry that.
Right. I haven't
Yeah,
used that blender, that static blender, in 3 years. Why
yeah.
is it still in my toolbox?
Why is
But
it there?
I have to admit though, I am a brush goblin,
Are
and
you? Okay.
so yeah, well, not only making brushes, but finding new and interesting brushes that I will, kind of mess around with and check out, and and eventually you kind of develop your own, you know, paintbrush repertoire, or things that you like. For instance, with this is a brush that I created. It's got a little bit more of a pencil ish kind of feel to it with the way that it operates, but you know
Yeah.
there's a very robust brush engine in Storyboard Pro and in Harmony that a lot of people, I think, don't even explore, because they either don't know how it works, or it's just difficult to you know think about how to create that line, and then testing
So
it takes a while, and refining it takes a while too. So
it does. Now I know. So I'm going to put a pin in that because I want to come back to that. We're hoping for any
all right.
suggestions from anybody of what to draw, but you just made me think about something. You were drawing something earlier, this little frog, and
Yes.
the idea of him with a sword. But what if he had a pencil? What if he had a brush? Does he? Is there something that he's being faced with, a new brush, a new pencil, or a villain one, or something that is he's got to either be defeated by, take down? I don't know what it is. Is there something there? Something between this our little character. Anybody got any suggestions for that? We've got this little uh, uh, frog knight, frog character that could be, instead of a sword, has a pencil or a brush. But I think definitely, yeah. I think all of us have these ideas of uh, uh, we like this certain brush, but we hear about someone that's using one. We're like, ooh, I want to use that. And I think always give it a try. But I know when traditionally, I found the pencils, I found the ones that were for me. I had friends that drew with other pencils, and I was like, gosh, it doesn't work for me. I was never a blue color erase. I would use it when I had to, but I didn't like drawing with it as much. I was Faber-Castell black or Design Ebony pencil. Both had a softness to them, a looseness that I could rough out, and then I could draw with that and still erase. And I liked Faber-Castell more than Prismacolor. Still both fun to draw with, but I could erase the other one more. When I get to digital, then it is finding those brushes that you go, okay, I've got to find the one that doesn't get in the way of my drawing. It only just assists and adds to my flow and process.
It's an enhancement and not a detriment.
Not
They
a
talk
Donkey
about,
Kong barrel, not a Donkey Kong barrel.
right. Well, I mean, the idea that it gets brought up every so often is this idea of assets and liabilities, right? And those are financial terms that a lot of people are, oh, it's so scary. It's talking about real world stuff. Assets and liabilities are a thing. Is what you're doing, is what your process, is it an asset? Is it helping you grow? Is it helping you develop? Or is it a liability? Is it holding you back from what you could be doing? And we get into these ideas of good, better, and best, of what, oh, this practice is good, but if you modify that, it could be better. Or if you give it that much more effort into the refinement of the process, it could be your best process that you've come up with to date.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and where are you putting your efforts in that will actually produce results as opposed to other things. And gosh, I'm not liking that drawing. I think we can do better. I think we can do better with this, Froggy.
We're getting some suggestions here.
Oh, we
Cool
do.
suggestions.
All right, safe, Froggy.
No, Froggy may come back, so don't give up on him yet.
Okay,
first
Froggy
one we've got is draw an alien that floats with energy radiating from it. In pertaining to our Frog Knight, well, we also have Frog Knight armed with a brush needs to figure out how to use it to draw a bridge strong enough to hold a horse-drawn carriage or some sort of heavy thing going across. I like the idea of the Frog Knight needs to create something to help in a moment right there. I would love to find out that, yes, we could draw a bridge. What are other ways that what are other things the frog has to draw to get something across a cavern area? And maybe he has to create a catapult to launch an elephant, or
what if the alien destroys the bridge?
Yes, I like this.
What if a visiting alien destroyed a bridge and Frog Knight is called to
save the day,
to remedy the situation?
And what are some, actually, that's what I'll ask everybody. What are a bunch of brainstorm ideas that the Frog Knight could do? Drawing a bridge is a great one. What else? What other creative thing could a character do with a brush like that, or tool, drawing pencil? There's a catapult. There is a giant slingshot. And what are we getting across? There is a carriage. Is the horse hopping up into the carriage and being carried across? Is the horse actually driving the carriage? And maybe that's even more ridiculous.
Okay, I think what we need is a castle on a cliff.
Okay.
To start out with.
So what are you thinking about as a storyboard artist as you're going into this?
Well, generally when I start in on one of these collaboratories, I try to keep it as loose as possible in my brain, just so I can develop that idea as it happens, and be open to these ideas. And we always try on the show to not necessarily reject ideas, unless the idea comes in too late and it's like, well, that would have been great 20 minutes ago.
No, we got some good ones. I like these.
I think integration is a great thing. I think it's really good to have something where you can integrate all the ideas, because we get so many cool ideas on this show, and our audience is really great with providing so many cool and interesting things to think about and to integrate into these pieces of artwork that, sometimes you just can't integrate them all, but you try to do as many as you possibly can.
I definitely like the mashup. I definitely like bringing those together, and both of these have that fun. Bringing them together, they've created that conflict we've talked about. Something has to happen in the story. Change has to happen. Something has to happen that gives your characters a moment of decision making or a response to something. So bringing in the alien along with this bridge, I love that. And having to save this horse-drawn carriage. Now, my brain goes to wordplay, a horse-drawn carriage. When we've got a frog that has a magic brush, I want some sort of wordplay there, whether it is the horse has drawn a carriage and it's a painting. So you've got a horse that's holding a painting that is a drawing of a carriage. So that is a horse-drawn carriage. I don't know. Now my brain, it's just my silliness of wordplay.
That's how we know you're a dad.
It's my cartoon brain that just gets ridiculous. Um, okay, we got a couple. The frog could draw its own armor. I like that. That's kind of neat. What sort of weaponry could be needed? It can summon rocks for a stone walkway. Nice. Yes, long
Ooh,
shot. Yep.
like
All about timing.
the
Stone.
Frog
It's
Knight is going to be experimenting with different methods throughout
to
this entire
to
process.
recreate the bridge.
Yes.
Summoning rocks.
All
The
right,
stones
so I
can
think
form
we need.
themselves. Yeah.
We have some sort of like, road. I think we've got a foreground element right here, where we have, this official looking bridge that's going across. I can just get a different brush.
I have a good question
chunky
here.
brush. What's the question?
Being fast is pretty important to be a storyboard artist. I got that problem sometimes. I focus in on too many details, and that takes more time to finish my projects. That's a great point and question. Zoe Mariana brought it up. Is that we do, as storyboard artists, we can get very caught up in the details of everything. That's something I know I'm always working on, but always encouraging my students to get a sense to see the big picture. As Mike's working on this, he's certainly working on this scene, but he's thinking about the whole picture. He's problem solving it in his head. He's thinking it out. And so not letting the details get in the way on your first pass, on your first part of it to get you farther into the story can help. And that helps with your speed. Don't get precious at first. Do not. There's a phrase I've lived by and friends have lived by for a long time. Is a board has to earn the right to be cleaned up. Keep it loose at first. It's got to. You do not get precious with your drawings right off the bat. So that'll help keep you moving to finish your projects. Any other suggestions on that, Mike?
I've never heard that a drawing has to earn the right to
be
cleaned up, and I think that is that's very appropriate because it's right.
Well, especially because storyboards go through so many changes. It's don't get precious at first.
Well, I mean, it's not worth it. Like when people do storyboards, I think many come from an illustration background or from a background where it's the proper thing to make the drawing look pretty. Like for instance, we tried to not make the drawings on this particular stream all that pretty, just because we're trying to get the point across. Like it's about telling the story.
Yeah.
And whatever tells the story, that's what we're gonna do. For instance, we've got this alien guy up here, and I think we can go with. There's what? There's like the gray or green men style, and then there's what like the chitinous insectoid type of alien.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go with like one of those like big brained. Maybe we just mash those up.
There you go.
And have like
big head.
Almost a predator, like a really smart looking predator kind of guy. We'll give him big evil eyebrows or something.
I like that. And why is he getting rid of this bridge here? What's his purpose here? Just destruction? It's in his way?
That's a good question. What do you guys think?
Why is our alien getting rid of this bridge here, everybody? Any suggestions? Any thoughts? I also have another thought on process. and keeping your speed on a project. I'm a big believer in putting a pin in a scene where you may be boarding and you get to a section and you're stuck at it. And I see a lot of board artists, we tread water a little bit with it, and you know what's going to happen after it, but you stay treading on this one because you're like, I don't know, they've got to get up they've got to get into the house and climb up the stairs and get to the thing, but I don't know how to get them in the house. Just put a pin in it, right? Quickly sneak into house, go to the next sequence or the next scene or the next thing that you do know that's going to happen, and continue forward. And when you come back to that, it's a way to then go, well, now I don't have to solve this entire thing. I just have to bridge this scene with the two scenes that I've already worked out. And you can sometimes solve it better, but you keep that momentum. I think sometimes people can treat doing storyboards like a linear train, like one train car at a time. And it doesn't have to be done like that. You can think it out in that way, but you can put pins in certain spots and just keep it moving. Oh, I like your new take on the frog.
Here, I think we're gonna have our. Well, he's got to have, like, big frog leg type thing happening here.
Yeah.
Because frogs have those very developed like upper thigh.
They definitely spend time on leg day.
Hopping.
They definitely spend time on leg day.
Every day is leg day.
Every day is leg day. There it is. Long shot 1225 says someone threw a rock at the alien. Someone threw a rock at him, and now, out of spite, he's blowing up the whole bridge. Aaron says maybe the alien is just toying with the town in a way that a cat plays with a mouse. So it's just because he can. So both of these are because he can. But one of them is in response to something. Maybe it's a misinterpreted. Maybe something got. Yeah.
I think what we have at play is the Bugs Bunny principle versus just sheer maliciousness. They always say, like, Chuck Jones had a rule for Bugs Bunny that, like, whenever he was about to just obliterate somebody, it had to be because he was threatened first. Mm-hmm. There's a classic one with Bugs and the opera singer, right? There's this opera singer who's practicing, and Bugs just minding his own business. He's doing whatever he's going to do, and his song influences this other guy and gets him distracted, and so he comes out and just wallops Bugs.
Yes,
and he does that,
it's
twice,
the opera one.
But on the third time, of course, this means war. And he just jacks the dude up in the most funny, clever ways.
Well, he becomes the conductor.
But it's that,
it's brilliant.
He's Leopold,
Leopold. Leopold.
Yeah. But the underlying principle of that is that you feel justified as an audience that Bugs Bunny is going to go jack up this guy because he was victimized first. And he blew it off a couple of times. He's like, well, music hater, well, rabbit hater. And then he's like, well, now I'm done playing around. And I will use all of my cartoon excellence to destroy you.
It almost is you see your hero has to turn the cheek a couple times until it's like, well, I ran out of cheeks. And now we're now this means war. The artist says that maybe he's trying to take over the town and breaks the bridge so the frog can't stop him. That could lead into every day is leg day. Does our frog need to leap across this cavern to the other side? And who knows? Is that how he draws what he needs to draw? Who knows? But I like a lot of these that it's in response to something. We've got our alien that is. What are some ridiculous things that he wants? I like your alien.
Oh, he needs a bigger head. I was trying to get that perspective foreshortening on this guy so we can get a nice upshot. oftentimes, one of the things that we'll do in Storyboard is just add a small, grid. You can
Mm-hmm.
do it in a lighter gray, and it instantly gives this sort of feeling of upshot,
I
without
love
having to
grid.
do a lot of extra things. You can keep your flow happening and still be able to, you know, work in an efficient way.
Well,
Um,
and it helps you as an artist see it now much better what you're going for. That you're like, oh, okay, now I understand the shapes I want to overlap and get that upshot. And it
yep.
sells the idea much better. And then hopefully down the line, when it's a finished scene, there are elements that are reinforcing that grid, clouds and other props and other shapes and things.
Yeah, I did not solve his neck, so he can have whatever kind of neck shape he needs to have.
There he is.
Ah, Frog Knight, my nemesis.
Once again, I told you last time to stay out of my way. Come on. Come on. You know you want to write that. I told you last time. Horrible. My it makes me giggle every time wordplay and stupid puns.
Give him some.
Claw, hands, sharpies.
Sure, he can have it. He can have sharp hands.
Just so that we point out, one of our watchers liked "I told you," so it's going in. Thank you, Aaron. Nice. Yes. Yes. You have good taste, Aaron. Well done. Well done.
If that's the Aaron I'm thinking of, he's a friend of the show and also a dad, so he would definitely be on board with a joke like that.
Question that came in: are you collaborating with Studio Adore?
Studio what? Adorf?
Adore, Adore.
Studio Adore, not currently.
No. Am I reading that wrong? No?
Studio Adore.
Are you collaborating with Studio Adore?
But if Studio Adore wants to collaborate with us, then we'll
Do it.
potentially be open to that.
Yes. You never know.
And one of the things we take from animation a lot with storyboards, with the performance aspect of it. I personally tend to just use the feature that is the color. See how I've got this color here that I'm using, and I'll just use select by color and replace it. I tend to use that a lot, and maybe a little bit more than what I would use with the onion skin. I don't know why. I think that's just part of the process that I tend to employ.
Do you do that so then you have your underdrawing without using the light table onion skin, and it just gives you a quick underdrawing to work over for the next panel or that scene you're on right there?
I think so. I think that's probably what it really boils down to, is maybe I just find it a little bit faster.
So we have the alien is like an old man. He's grumpy, grouchy, and he's shaking his fists. Leave me alone, you little green thing. Yeah, does he feel interrupted in some way?
You will not stop me from eating every pastry in the kingdom.
Aliens do like their pastries, don't they? and they like cows, so they probably like pastries with milk.
Yeah, he's after every dairy product in the kingdom, which I've always found is kind of a weird thing when you've got animal characters
Aliens and
next
cows.
to like non-sentient animals.
Uh-huh.
Does that ever bother you? We're like, hey, what happened with this guy? Did you just get left behind when the brain rays were being passed out? Like what happened here?
The brain rays. Yeah, there's something to this of him either there. What if he's is he there to pick up a buddy? Is he carpooling? And he's mad that he's got to pick up his cow friend?
No, I think it's a little bit, has to be a little bit more nefarious than that.
Yeah.
If he's not nefarious, he is no longer our villain.
Is there a cow king or royalty there that he's stopping our frog from getting over to save them?
Maybe.
And that's where leg day comes in, being able to leap across. But he's got to draw. Can he draw a catapult? Well, he's already can leap, so we don't need that. We've still got our horse-drawn carriage painting, or carriage, whichever.
I think
you'll not stop me from eating all these pastries this time. Again. Once was enough.
Neither you or your magic brush can save you now. And I think we can also do just a little one of these head toss back laughter.
The maniacal laugh. There has to be a maniacal laugh, always.
Yeah, the maniacal laugh.
Yes. It's got to be.
Head structure with the pincers.
Ridiculous.
I like silly comedy. That's what I love. I think that there's always a place for silly comedy.
Absolutely. Why even do a cartoon if you're not going to do silly comedy? Maybe the.
But I also.
Go ahead.
I'm also a big fan of like intellectually clever but silly. I
don't shy away from wordplay.
Yeah, don't shy away from your own intelligence.
We got some new stuff in. Here we go. Hang on.
Well, I mean, and I say that when I say don't shy away from your own intelligence, I think that some people, and this is maybe just my own personal feeling, but I think some people shy away from their own. I don't know. Have you ever encountered somebody that says, "Dude, why do you sound like that? Like, why do you? I don't understand." And people kind of like dumb themselves down for social reasons. But I don't think that's not appropriate.
My trying to keep up with everybody. Everybody slows everything down for.
There's a certain relatability that you have to maintain, but I think that don't hide the fact that you're smart. If you're smart, be smart. That's fine.
Totally. I don't think our alien is hiding that he's smart. He wants everybody to know he's smarter than everyone. Old age implies that he has seen many changes on Earth, so that would have changed to make him mad. The aliens want all the baked food in the kingdom. Someone get this alien some cake. It's like the Berenstain Bears. All the bears.
Someone get this alien some cake.
Someone get this alien some. That needs to be a line in there. Berenstain Bears. All the bears evolve, but every other animal are still animals. This is true. This is sort of the Disney theory of Goofy and Pluto. Goofy's evolved to where he wears clothes. He's still dog-like, yet Pluto is still a dog. You don't want to overanalyze that.
You know, there the newer Mickey shorts that were done over at TVA.
That are amazing.
There was an episode where they kind of encountered that particular one, where
Did they?
Goofy inadvertently injures Pluto on the eve of a dog show where Mickey was gonna use the proceeds to help some orphans or do some very charitable act, and Goofy was like, if there was only something I could do, and he's like doing all of the same things that Pluto is doing, only, Pluto's chomping on a bone or something like that, and Goofy's eating a sandwich the same way, and they enroll Goofy in the dog show, which, it's a pretty funny cartoon. Paul Rudish and his team did such a great job. Like
every one of those is wonderful and fun and fun. That would be my description of all of it. Beautiful, amazing quality to each. And again, why do a 30-minute one of those when you could do 6 5-minute ones and do a bunch of variety and have so much fun doing so many different ideas? I think those are amazing. Paul and his team they killed it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the alien.
And again, I think it goes back to that sort of silly, fun, huh?
There's one. Maybe the alien wants to create a planet full of frogs. Maybe the alien wants to create a planet full of frogs. Has he been trying to capture our frog? Once again, we meet, and you shall be mine. No, I like that he wants the pastries, but there is something to a collector of things.
This bridge is the only way to your kingdom.
Well, there's something to that. He's taking away what he thinks is the only is something that our frog needs, and because he's got the magic paintbrush, he also has the leg day legs. He's going to have a solution to it, but what is the creative solution to it, and how does he ultimately stop our alien? This one is for me. What can I do to improve my technique creating comics? Sometimes I get a great idea, but the problem to draw it is I imagine the idea is as I imagine that idea. It's hard to translate that, what you get in your head, isn't it? I think that's the same with storyboards and comics. Our imagination can be pretty fruitful and pretty imaginative in accomplishing it. I always tell everybody, try and find the simple form of it first. We can always enhance it, but don't let it get too complicated too quick. You can build on that. You can always enhance, but find that creative solution that is simple, but clever, and hopefully maintains what your initial idea was. Comic wise, similar to boards, doing storyboards it's all about getting the story down in a clear way. Looks like we just lost our bridge.
I think we did.
Splork. Who had great sound effects? Everybody needs to look up Don Martin, Mad Magazine. Amazing sound effects and just silly cartoony stuff and drawings.
I mean, I know there's a lot of Mort Drucker fans happening. He's kind of like the face of Mad, but there's a lot of artists that were just really, really, really good on Mad Magazine. And
Sergio,
yes,
Sergio is the cartoonist. Getting ideas down, getting clarity down quickly and with a gag. None better than Sergio.
And you've met Sergio on several occasions, right?
Yep.
He's been at San Diego Comic-Con he's been a staple there, Sergio Aragonés.
So
he's been a staple there for a long, long time.
Absolutely. And all his books, Mad Magazine, his own books of Gru and everything he's worked on, his drawings, there's just showing he does a ton of the fastest cartoon, people tossing out ideas like this, but just drawing little one panel gags and such. But I saw Sergio when I was in 7th grade. I tell him this is what got me into cartooning. Is there were 2 shows that were on when I was in school. That's Incredible and Real People. Do anybody know anybody remember those or even have ever heard of them? That would be amazing.
I think I watched a
But
couple
he
of
was on an
episodes of That's
episode.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was either That's Incredible or Real People. I can't remember, but he was on an episode of those, and he was being interviewed as a cartoonist. And I came back to school, and my friends, a couple of friends, had seen it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this guy was super inspiring." We got to see his drawings, and again, we had no access to internet or anything like that, so you see something like this, and we were super inspired. We snuck off campus, went down to 7-Eleven and bought Mad magazines that day. Came back and drew. It was like a scene in a movie. So you've got your scene. There's a picnic table on a playground, and there's a group of about 7 kids sitting there, and we all got paper. And I bought a Don Martin magazine, or collectible, and a regular Mad magazine for Sergio's. And little by little, we were all drawing every day, but there'd be a few less people. It was almost like cross dissolving over every day until Friday. It was just me still drawing at the picnic table, and haven't stopped since then. And so I tell Sergio, I go, "You inspired me to be a cartoonist." And meeting him later was amazing. He's kind and generous and funny and gregarious and incredibly talented. So yes, he is awesome. We have an besides wanting the baked goods, our alien could also be collecting cows in the hope that one day he could make his own. Does he want to make cow pies?
Oh, cows, chickens.
Cats and dogs living together in total mayhem. Cows and chickens.
Mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
Well, I was on a backpacking trip a couple summers ago, and we were out in the Golden Trout Wilderness up by this on the other side of the Sequoias on the eastern ridge, and we were walking through this meadow and just hot. The wind was pretty still, and the only place there was we saw in the distance that there was a clump of trees, small clump of trees, only shade around for a while until you got over to the next ridge and went over the next bunch of hills. And in that area, the whole thing was covered in buffalo pies.
That's where they hung out.
So the only place we had to rest, and it was like, oh, well, this is a bathroom. That's great.
This stinky tree. So
it ended up being a very good memory, but it was definitely
that's
a little bit of
something
a shock initially.
I bet walking up to it, you were welcomed by the scent.
Oh, for sure.
But as an artist, doing stuff like that fills your tank back up, doesn't it? Doing something outside of a studio, outside of the art side of things, going on a camping trip.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What else do you do that kind of fills your creative tank? Any other hobbies? Anything else you do?
Oh, I have too many hobbies. One of my hobbies actually is making ice cream.
No, really?
I've gotten into culinary hobbies. Yeah, I
love that.
COVID during the COVID lockdown time, my hobby became pizza, and I was really into it. So I'm a fan of food and eating stuff that
I can agree with you.
But not just eating to eat, like eating food that is something that you make yourself. Like you know what's in it, how to do it, and there's a certain craft and artisanal quality about it that sort of vibes with, you know, my own creativity, and I find it very fulfilling. You know what I mean?
I absolutely know what you mean. I have said to my wife many a time, if I wasn't an artist or cartoonist and that wasn't my main focus, I would love to have my own restaurant and be a chef. I would love to just be creative in that way, culinarily, if that's a word, creative. The idea of
Sure.
making meals and again sharing. You know, it's the same thing we do as artists is we make something and we want to share it with people. This is a different way that you're making something and you're sharing it, you know, for a different experience. But homemade, handmade things like that, I love, you know, and I it's on my bucket list to get a little pizza oven and begin playing with that. But I cook all kinds of other things too, and so I right there with you. I love that.
Yeah,
Very cool.
and it's very I don't know. There's a certain process about the whole thing that I find to be very analogous to art, but it
Yes.
also results in something tasty, hopefully, to eat at the end.
Well, exactly. You know, there's a reward at the end of it, you know. Even more so than our drawings, which are delicious and great to see them finished, and it's wonderful to share the art, but even more so you make something to enjoy on a different sensory level is great. I'm going to toss out to everybody, we need a name for our frog night. I'm just going to encourage everybody to toss out some names for who our little noble toad is. He's a very determined little frog.
I think we also, in this particular instance, I think we need a little camera adjust. I think we need a camera adjust of him rising to the occasion. You know what? Okay, that brings up
So
a certain,
so talk about
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
and again, we're not doing fantastic drawings because we just don't have the time. And so a lot of these, you know, if you are tuning in for the first time and seeing drawings that are like, nah, that's not a nice drawing. Well, they're not designed to be. They're designed to be storytelling drawings.
hmm Well,
Anyways,
what did we say
as
earlier?
long as they're clear.
Especially with storyboards, a storyboard has to
Yeah.
earn the right to be cleaned up. Do not get precious at first. You're getting story down. We have to do so many drawings. Everybody, you know, unless you do storyboards, you don't realize how many drawings go into a storyboard. Hundreds of go into them. Now, where I took that and ran with it, I will show you this. This is a book that I did called Ham and Eggs. And I purposely realized that when I did storyboards, I would turn in this massive batch of drawings. And I was like, okay, there it is. It's turned in. It's great. But then that storyboard is done. If I was to take this and go to completion, do some finished, even more polished drawings, I could have a book. So what I did is I actually decided to board out the story, and I actually did it in a format that is a storyboard format, and then I laid it all out like that. So I then
Oh,
was
that's
able
great.
to take my storyboard knowledge and go, I'm going to adapt it over into my my print side of things, and that's always what I've done is bring animation over into the print side. It's the animation way, so to speak, that I've always used. Um, we've got, hang on, he sees cake as something with value because the frog needs food for his legs to not get tired. He steals cake because it's good and it keeps food from the frog, makes him weak. Interesting. Uh, here's some names: Edwin, Croak, Flipper, Clement the frog, Hopsalot, Sir Hopsalot the third, Frudo, and Flop. There's some good ones there, you guys. am partial to hops a lot. Clement is a great name.
Clement hops a lot?
Or it's either Clement or there is Hopsalot the third.
Well, I mean, that could be his last name.
Yes.
Hopsalot
Clement
is
Hopsalot.
his surname.
There it is. There it is.
It's kind of like, when you talk about like the Castlevania, there's the Belmonts, right?
Yeah.
Vampire hunters.
Get you going deep into
whole family full of them.
Mythology. Oh, so explain a camera adjust. Why are you doing that? What do we use it for?
Okay.
What do you like to use it for?
So we have if I go to my camera view right here, right, and we have a scene that's kind of down lower, and then when he raises up, we raise the camera up with him to show a certain amount of determination, right? Because he is metaphorically rising to the challenge, and then we reflect that physically. But in all the things that we do in storyboard, we are eliciting a feeling, right? We are presenting information, yes, but we're also eliciting a feeling from our audience, and and bring that emotional content, because really that's what it's all about, right? You are influencing somebody's mood, you're influencing somebody's perception, you're influencing somebody's emotions, right? And the way that we try to do that is not in a manipulative way, but in a sort of like a come and see kind of invitation. Because there's two ways I feel like, that when you tell a story, if you do these couple of things, they tend to not be successful. And that is, tell a person what they should be thinking. And that's, I'm talking about the incorrect ways. Tell a person what their thoughts should be, and then treat them like they're stupid. Those are the two things that I think will kill a story faster than anything else. Instead, I feel like the better way is to sort of invite them into what you are wanting to show. Like, invite them into, this is our knight, this is our frog knight, this is his problem, and this is his method to solve what is going on here, and let people draw their own conclusions from what they see, instead of, we're, and sort of lead your audience along like a tour guide, rather than a sheep herder who's just behind you cracking the whip.
Yeah. Allow them. Well, what you invite curiosity. You're inviting them to participate in the storytelling.
Exactly, because I feel like it's a communal experience. It harkens back to the days of auditory storytelling around a campfire, with the village elder or whatever, who's telling you heroic stories of the past, or tales of the struggles of their ancestors who slayed the dragon and created the wonderful society you see today, that kind of thing.
And you're not talking down to people.
Yeah. Treating people with respect. And I think that's such a huge thing in any endeavor, to be able to treat people with respect. And respect their emotions, respect their intelligence, respect them as people.
Here. Yeah. So that also gets into your storytelling, because it gives your characters points of view. You bring in, a point of view of caring about your audience and caring about what you how you can present things. I like your decision making of him rising to the occasion. It gives a neat motivation. It gives a neat heroic point of view for your character. I also like too that you pointed out in that little camera adjust that your character, by standing up, it motivated the camera to do what it did. It wasn't the character led by the camera. It was the action and the personality of our character leading and giving purpose to that camera move.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool. We've got Flop, Fruto, Eddie, a couple other names, Croak.
Clement, Edward, Hopsalot,
Hopsalot the third.
Frogo.
Fruto.
Fruto.
I like Frogo. I hadn't thought about that, but now yes. Mike Max Tunis said we cook with cartoons. I like that. That's going throwback to what we're doing. We're definitely creating meals. I have often said that's what we do with storyboards is we bake something, we make something, we bring it to our director or we present it as a meal and go, do you like this? Take a bite of this. What can I, adjust or how can it be refined?
Well, and in this slang iteration of cook as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're
cooking up a story.
Just gotta let it cook, dude. Let it cook. So can we get a transition? And this
There's
is what we
happening.
usually refer to as an object wipe, where he is using the magic brush to now paint us into a different scenario, where we can now see him at the broken bridge. I think we need to see a couple of things. I think we need to see the castle right here. We need to see some sort of mayhem in the castle. And we might need to do... Okay. I'm going to split this off. Okay. I'm going to split off this panel.
Okay.
I'm
a big fan of clever transitions. Okay, so show us what you're doing there. Are you right-clicking or are you going up to the top there?
Well, I have it set to a certain key on mine, which is W. But if you right-click and go to split current scene, then you'll be able to do that. So we are changing scenes underneath, right? And keeping that camera move, but it's a different scene entirely. So that way we can not be hampered with a camera move that's underlying. But I think we can lay down a little bit of a perspective grid here, just a small one. I'm gonna shrink my brush size a little bit. I'm gonna do a very simple grid here, and we can have the broken bridge, the other side. We might need to go a little bit higher of perspective. I think if we go higher on the perspective, then we are able to see the chasm a little bit higher and see a little bit more of what we should glean from this, which is an expanse, a divide that is a barrier of air. And we need to see...
And you want to show this by getting the camera up a little higher.
Yes. So, I mean, and when we talk about cinematography, and we talked about cinematography a little bit here, we try to talk about it as much as possible. And the reasons why you do camera moves, right? So we do camera moves for clarity, or I just should rephrase that. We do different angles for clarity and for storytelling and for interest, right? Is there any other reasons that come to your mind, Mike, about staging for a certain effect and what camera provides for that?
Well, the camera is another character. I mean, the camera can be your audience, and so you're giving information. You're creating maybe an emotional connection to a scene. You're quickly giving a visual clue of what's at stake or what the odds are. So by bringing your camera up higher like this, you're definitely showing that there's this impasse, and our character is going to have to deal with this.
We should see some like, you know, destruction or some sort of
mayhem. Something's
terrible
going on inside. Yeah,
mayhem.
because he's
And we can
the.
even take this down a little bit further.
But I like that because that shows that there's stuff, there's threat and why, and there's urgency. Sometimes if we create a conflict in our story, but we don't create urgency, our character doesn't have to make that decision. So now they have to make a decision, and some solution can be a humorous solution or a dramatic solution, but there is a moment of tension that's happening here that our character has to get across and get over to that castle, and so we're seeing what's causing that.
Yep. Okay,
Also,
so I think we can just plop him straight here. Kind of like how, you know, we've got it like in a video game, he's got the first opening salvo right here. He's got his paintbrush. Boy's ready to get to work. Okay. So I think we can have him down here, and then as he is readying himself, we don't need this anymore because we've already done that transition. So whoop.
nice.
And then I think we might need a little bit of an internal monologue here of, oh, well, how am I actually going to do this?
It'd be nice to get into his head a little bit. Can we see him try a couple different things? Kind of that rule of threes.
Oh, yeah.
This, no. This, no. This, there we go. That'll work.
You know, that's very analogous to often what we do in storyboards. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, this isn't working, but maybe this will work. Maybe, but I don't know.
It's musical chairs. You keep refining until the music stops. You're like, okay, everybody's got to sit down. Better find a seat. Make it work. We've run out of time. Make the movie. Make the episode.
Yep. I think we can also do like one of those more extreme upshot kind of things where we see like the bottom of the bridge, and we see, you know, the pillars on the sides here, and
so a little trick for everybody listening. What Mike's doing here is he's moved his camera to look up at the cliffside, and our little frog character looking over. The previous shot was him looking down. A little key to that is that when you're looking up, normally your horizon line is lower. It's down. It's way below, down underneath this shot right here. But when you're looking down on something, your horizon line is usually up a little higher. It goes up. It's usually an opposite. So whichever if you want to kind of get a better angle on something, adjust your horizon line.
I think we can even make his head bigger too.
From the perspective. And that's what's so nice about Storyboard Pro is that ability to manipulate and adjust and transform some things on the fly like that. You know.
Dude, I will preach all day long about how vector is great. Vector drawing is the best.
So I was part of the first batch, the first ever version of Storyboard Pro at Disney Television when it was first introduced at Disney TV. We were the guinea pigs. And it was on Special Agent Oso and Kick Bataus, or was it on Kick? Oso and Might have been on Kick too. And it has, in the beginning, it was a big mental shift. It was a big adjustment to things, but boy, you come around real quick of what you can do with vector and control and adjust things and manipulate and just speed along your process as a board artist. And with the tools getting so much better, this new version has some amazing brushes and drawing line work. We have a question from the artist, TH3 artist, the artist. I like the cleverness of that. Do we have any tips on world building? What are some thoughts you have on world building, Mike? Starting something new, new idea you might have.
In order to have, I think any successful world building starts with a hint of reality. I think it's plausibility. Have you ever watched Mythbusters?
Yep.
You ever you see how they label a myth busted or plausible?
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a plausible situation in your world building, and then you have to kind of like ask yourself the questions like, all right, well, if this is the way this is in this world, what is the response to that? What is the general feeling behind that? Who is being influenced by that? What sort of factions or people are around that have a certain particular point of view about something? And just kind of like use real world examples of like, oh, well, these people believe this, and so they think this way, and so their society is formed this way, and everything's up in the trees because their ancestors were hunted on the ground, and so they went up in the trees, like lemurs or something like that, and so you have to come up with, you're building a society from scratch, and so you have to think of like how different factions would interact with one another.
Agreed. And I think it's finding that relatability to your audience. What is the entry point? When you're building this world out, what is the thing that your audience can enter into your world? What are the things that are relatable to them on what levels? Is it personal? Is there something that they go, oh, that's what I do. That's how, can you show your characters doing things that are, even if it's just a story about a bunch of raccoons who are, living in this village and it's all a world of raccoons. What do they do that's relatable to your audience on the level of that's what family is like? That's how that works. On a very cartoony level, the comic strip Hagar the Horrible by Dick Brown was always presented as, this is a family strip. This is a story of this. These are comic strips about family, and there is a way to look at that and say, okay, yes, he's a Viking, a barbarian. There's all this crazy settings, but at the core of it, the audience has an entry point to go, huh, that I relate to that. That's how my family is. That's how my sister or my mom or my wife or my husband, how they act, or that's relatable to me on that level, even though they're wearing Viking helmets. And so that's the fun of that. We have a little under 10 minutes left.
I think people oftentimes, what?
We have a little under 10 minutes left. We may need to take a look at the animatic soon. We got to get him to draw something quick. Save this
now
bridge.
We're going to get into real derpy drawings.
Look at the speed, everybody. Watch what's going to happen now. Deadlines. Look what deadlines do to us. This deadlines. You are experiencing it, and an entire. This is what we do as storyboard artists. We go, oh, that's not due for a week. I got plenty of time. You draw. You're enjoying it. You're talking to friends. You're hanging out. Suddenly you go, it's due tomorrow. Crap! I got to get this done. Draw. and now you draw with instinct. Mike's going to take us through this.
There was
quickly
a director who is, you know, who given a talk one time, and he was talking about when he was a story artist and feature, and how he would always wait, and he tended to have a bad habit of procrastinating, and then it was like due in a couple of days, and he's like, oh no, and then he found that it was much more visceral when it was like due in a couple of days, and he did it that way, and it was like you know, something that he did as a general practice after that, because he found that if he sat there and noodled on a board for a while, and for those of you who don't know, noodling is when you just like just work something to death.
Well, you suddenly look up and you realize until you. I've been on this panel for a half hour, and you need to get to your instinctive storytelling, where it was crunch time. Run, Mike, run. This is, in a way, we should all hope to get to that place of storytelling, because we're not overthinking. We're just drawing. We're just getting it down. We know what our gut instincts are. And I think that the good and bad of deadlines is it helps us artists get stuff done. And we will always goldfish out. If you have 2 days to do it, you'll freak out, but you'll get it done. If you have a week to do it, you'll freak out, and you'll take the entire week when you could have done it in 2 days. So we will always goldfish out to our deadline time. And so when we get to that moment of panic or got to get it done, do it, you just dive in. And that visceral, I totally relate to. Yes.
You know, and there's that idea of what we affectionately refer to as the vomit pass, which is
I've never heard it described that, but I totally get it.
Get it out. You just on the page, and it's out and it's done. And okay, now we've got magic. And you can make, you know, effect brushes and things like that to make that, you know, as one more thing in your repertoire. And then I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some swollenness that's going to happen right here in a second. So he's going to.
Bum, bum, bum. We don't need a new bridge when we've got magic thighs. What was Charles Durning's name in the Muppet movie? Hopper?
Yeah, I think so.
That he wanted Kermit for his frog leg restaurant?
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Our Clement Edward Hopsalot III would be dangerous in danger from Hopper.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, look at those legs. Those are amazing. You know, and one other thing we can do that's kind of a fun thing to do is just do a little bit of animation overshoot. And that's pretty easy with the vector tools.
Explain what you're doing there. What is that doing?
So it gives it a little bit more swelling, and then you kind of bring it back down and give it to its normal situation. It brings a little bit more life into it, I feel like. And,
so I always ask people.
I'm not the only one who feels that way.
No, I think so. But I always ask people what their process with it. Some people draw the overshoot and then they draw what the settle is. Or some people draw the settle and then they go back in with vector and they expand it to create the overshoot. Which way do you go?
I usually do the pose to pose, and then I do the overshoots afterward, because then I know exactly how extreme I can make the overshoot, because I know what's going to be the tonic pose.
Where it's
by land. Tonic pose, I mean that that stasis, right? That we all are going toward. Okay, and now we're going to get into the divide here. We're going to put this thing in here, and we're going to have our little guy, and he's going to, do the $6 million man jump. And we're going to have him, launch with his magic paintbrush.
Is he drawing a bridge as he goes across?
Give it away, dude.
Oh,
just give the whole thing away. My goodness. He's gonna jump.
Take us there.
With his buff legs. I think we'll bring him down just a little bit here. And then at the apex of it all, we're going to get giant paintbrush.
Bring in the magic.
And then we can...
Vector.
Yes, isn't it great?
Oh.
You just have a little bit of... We need to keep the arc of that jump.
Mm-hmm.
But the brush is going to, since it's magical, it can extend out as long as it needs to be.
What? Cartoon logic.
And then now we're going to do a full restoration, minus the archways. We're not going to draw in the archways.
Modern construction.
Yes. Magic materials make a difference.
Sound
and
effect.
Then we're going to add in a little bit of a stretch pose right here.
Okay.
For those of you in animation, like you understand that squash and stretch idea.
I also love that you added in a sound effect. Wow, there it is. When you're boarding, I do the same thing. We board and animate with sound sometimes. It's the only way to feel it.
I think it helps to kind of like clarify it in your mind too. And maybe it's one of those things where that something like that is going to be in there in the final anyway, and so you're just like kind of visualizing that because you're visualizing the whole project as it stands.
Yep. It sells it in your brain more.
Okay. Oops. If you ever find that you're in a canvas like this and you want to reset it, Shift M is your guy right there.
And does that change all of them?
That will just reset your whole canvas to its normal way. If you've got it all bent out of shape and rotated everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got, bridge that is completed again. And then we're going to have our boy get up.
Don't mess with him. Don't mess with him.
He's got his magic brush. and his super buff legs. And then we're just going to give him a quick little thing where he, gives himself a little whip on the head with his brush. And we'll just put this back over here, but then we'll have him
someone's ready for battle.
Armor up. And it's auto-saving.
Good, good, good.
Auto-save, you guys. If you don't have it on in Storyboard Pro, get it on.
Yes.
Because it will save you so many times. One time, I walked into work. I was working on a show at Disney TV, and I walked into work just tired as I could be, having stayed up super late to finish something that needed to be done, that needed to be revised, and my supervising director was like, all right, I'm kind of in a pickle. I need somebody that can handle this. And I did it. I worked on it. And it was a new version or something like that. I hadn't turned on autosave.
No.
Lost 3 hours of work. Lost the whole thing. It was done. I had to redo it again.
Oh, the pain. The pain of losing a project. Have that autosave on, everybody. It will save you. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's definitely the PSA moment that we all need in this, is turn on your autosave.
Yeah, I have lost definitely, and I've also started new installs of Storyboard Pro. I've been working on it and suddenly realized, wait a minute, I haven't seen an autosave little thing pop up or anything, and quickly turning it on because I do not want that pain.
Okay, we're almost done. Got one little deal left to go.
Bring us home.
And we're gonna do an in-camera.
I'm not even gonna guess. I'm not even gonna guess. I don't even want to guess what's happening.
And then here's the castle. And we're going to do a little bit of a camera move here.
Almost out of time.
All right. Almost out of time.
But we're good.
Let's make it even bigger. Make this grand.
Grand
exit.
A grand.
Another thing that we can do also is, I'm going to redo the perspective on this just because I think it's important. We need to have a more imposing 3-point perspective happening here to make it even more grand.
Okay. And this is something we all do when we're working. We come back to some early stuff and we're like, wait a minute, I need to rethink this.
Yeah. I always think of, Pinto Colvig's Goofy, the original voice of Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And he would say, something wrong here, and you deal with whatever's wrong there. I mean, I think Bill Farmer does a great job, but you can't beat Pinto Colvig and Ducky Nash and all those other guys that were the creators of these. The original voices, they're just so good.
And it's very it's just very pure when you do hear those. It's like hearing Jim do Kermit. Yes, Brian did it, and other people have done it now. But you hear the original, and you're just like, yep, that's Kermit. It's always going to be that.
That's Kermit. And we have him jumping in.
Huzzah! Be gone, evil alien.
And then, ba-boom!
I told you not to come back to our kingdom. Ever again.
I told you to beat it.
I told you.
All right. Let's play it back, shall we? And we go to the camera view, because, of course, camera view is where we present, right? So we have in our midst an alien who's threatening our Frog Knight and his beloved kingdom. Frog Knight, you fool! I will take all the pastries of your kingdom and leave you all destitute. Your legs will shrivel. You will not prosper any longer. And he goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then he comes over, uses a magic or a alien ray gun, and blasts the bridge apart. Cake shall be mine. And he flies into the kingdom. Frog Knight, oh no, the cake. It must be saved. Summons his magical paintbrush, and whoosh-ah! We transition into him and the broken bridge, the destroyed bridge, I should say. And he gets up. Okay, bridge. How am I gonna fix this bridge? Well, it's pretty deep down there. Wait, I know. The power of I summon the power of Swole! And he paints in a new bridge. And then as a little aside, just dink, and then he's armored up. Let's do this. And he runs and jumps with his new swole legs. And then and that's where we end it. But does he free the kingdom? Yeah, probably.
Next episode.
Yeah.
To be continued.
The next episode.
Well done. Well done. Super fun. Look at how quickly personality and character come out. Giving characters a point of view. Well done. Gosh, just killed it. Super fun. A lot of fun you added to that. Awesome job, Mike. Really fun. Well,
thanks, man.
I would like to say thank you for having me be part of this, but also just for everybody that joined us. This has been a very cool episode of Storyboard Pro Storyboard Improv. And this has turned into something very cool. I want to thank everybody. If Mike could draw anything in 90 minutes, think about what you could do. If you guys had more or even more time, 3 weeks, you can find Storyboard Pro online, and you can download a free 21-day trial Storyboard Pro from the website toonboom.com. Find more and see more of our video tutorials at learn.toonboom.com. And if any of you are looking for any more interviews, you can certainly go to blog.toonboom.com for articles, storyboarding information, animation, 2D games, lots of it. And until next time, this is Storyboard Pro.
50th episode.
50th. 50. killed it, Mike. You did. This is quite the epic one for 50. Well done. Well done. Thank you for having me.
Again, before we sign off, I just want to say thank you guys for supporting the show. We love doing it. So please come back, tell your friends, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.